The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember this day, September the 20th, 2018. It will go down in history as a red-letter date for Star Wars. Why? Did Harrison Ford pass away? Thankfully not. But I have excellent news. Disney has now admitted guilt in Star Wars. So this comes from JediNews.com. Bob Iger expects slowdown with Star Wars film releases. And this was just released today. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter's Matt Belloni, Disney CEO Bob Iger spoke on several topics including Disney's new streaming service set to launch towards the end of next year, the recent acquisition of 21st Century Fox, the potential future of the X-Men franchise, and more. During the interview, Bob Iger was asked if Disney's decision to release a new theatrical Star Wars film every year since 2015's The Force Awakens has resulted in some fatigue with the iconic franchise among moviegoers. Will Disney continue to roll out a new Star Wars film on a yearly basis, or will we start to see some greater time distance between each new film? Many believe Disney should pump the brakes and not put out a Star Wars movie each year. And this is what Bob Iger had to say. I made a timing decision, and as I look back, I think that the mistake I made, I take the blame, was a little too much too fast. You can expect some slowdown, but that doesn't mean we're not going to make films. J.J. Abrams was very busy making Episode 9. We have creative entities including Game of Thrones creator David Benioff and D.B. Weiss who are developing the sagas of their own, which we haven't been specific about. And we're just at the point where we're going to start making decisions about what comes next after J.J.'s. But I think we're going to be a little bit more careful about volume and timing. And the buck stops here on that. Well, Bob, that's a great way to end that statement because the buck will stop before it gets to Star Wars if you guys keep pumping out stuff. So let's look at this. This is very important. Two things to take into account from this. First off, this is the first time that Disney is admitting guilt with Star Wars, which is an important thing. We've been talking about it for 10 months. It took 10 months to finally hear some accountability come from the camp of Disney, which is refreshing and nice to hear. This also is important too because if you pay attention to what's coming next, there's not a single word about Rian Johnson's trilogy. So the Game of Thrones stuff is still on. They're trying to make decisions about what comes after JJ, and they're going to be a bit more careful. And it's so nice to hear that they're self-aware of what's going on with Star Wars. Is this a victory for all of us? I think so, because I feel that the fandom menace, or all Star Wars fans in general who don't want to be associated with the fandom menace, have put a little bit of pressure on Disney as of late. Solo's failure, the merchandise, the way it clogs the arteries that are known as the retail outlets. Star Wars has a stink on it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a stink on Star Wars, and they know at the very, very top. So does this mean Kathleen Kennedy's gone? No, she hasn't been mentioned in this article as well. But they are aware, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kathleen Kennedy was gone at the end of the month. They don't know what's coming next. Well, maybe they do know what's coming next, and it doesn't involve her. There is no future of Star Wars with her involved. And I can hope that's the case. Maybe Bob Iger's taking the blame. Well, he is taking the blame. Maybe he's trying to move blame away from Kathleen Kennedy. Maybe he wants to let her retire in a nice, safe manner. She's going to get her fake Oscar award, which we talked about on the channel already, and she's going to ride off into the sunset with her husband, and they're just going to go off and live their lives. They'll produce smaller fare, and she'll stop being the president of Lucasfilm. No matter the case, if that's the case, if that's not the case, what is the case is they know they have messed up, and that we know that they're course correcting in the process. I'd love to be a fly on the wall inside of Lucasfilm to know what's going on with Episode 9. How much has the fandom, and I'm not going to say the fandom menace again, I'm going to say how much has the fandom impacted what's going to happen with Episode 9. They know they can't kill our heroes, they know they can't bastardize our heroes without us noticing, without us caring, because the Star Wars fan base is the most passionate fan base. John Campion wants to talk about, I was part of a fandom, and a film I loved, and all that other happy horse shit. People love Star Wars. People have loved Star Wars. This was the worst time to be a Star Wars fan, and I say was because now they know. They're not doubling down, they're admitting the guilt. Does that mean that we should be less vigilant about the changes that are being made to Star Wars? No, we need to pay an even closer attention to what they're going to do. It's nice to tell us, but actions speak louder than words, and we need to make sure that they make good on the promises that they're talking about right now. So, Bob Iger, we know that Star Wars isn't done. But you know that you need to slow back. You need to stop pumping out stuff. A yearly Star Wars movie just will never work. It needs to be special. It needs to take 10 years to get what you've already put out. You have put out 4 Star Wars flicks in 3 years. Spin-offs, let's just stop them. Sagas, it doesn't have to be the Skywalker saga. It doesn't have to be this galaxy. It could be a different part of the Star Wars universe. And it should be. You can have your lightsabers. You can have a few things like that. And that's how you can keep Star Wars interesting. Stop beating the dead horse. Stop milking the mercamel. Green milk doesn't taste good. We don't want to consume it. We don't want to consume The Last Jedi. We don't want to consume Solo. Hell, I didn't want to consume The Force Awakens. I was duped, but I realized it after walking out of the theater. I knew what had just happened to me. And it's taken time, but people have realized what Disney Star Wars is, a lazy rehash, a rush to the box office to make as much money as possible. What I think happened was they were trying to push out as much crap as quick as possible so we wouldn't have time to sit and think about it. Star Wars games that were bad, Star Wars movies that were bad, Star Wars toys that are bad, Star Wars books that are fucking unreadable. All this bad Star Wars content. And while you're focused on consuming this thing, everything else is bad, and then you move on to something else and you don't have time to think. You're just like, I'm so happy Star Wars is back. I'm so thankful that we get more Star Wars. But it ain't good Star Wars. It's not the stuff of the past. It's not great stuff that can come from the future. It's a Star Wars that is built upon greed and a lack of creativity. Let's take this thing we spent a bunch of money on. I get it, it's a business. But Star Wars is more than just a business. It's a saga. And if you don't have the foundation of the Star Wars saga in place, the storytelling, the characters, you don't have anything to build upon. You know, we don't live in an era where the effects of Star Wars are groundbreaking anymore. There's better CGI in other movies. Hell, even in a Disney property like the Avengers, you get better effects in that film than you do a Star Wars film. The spectacle of Star Wars used to be very important, very big. Now, it's just part of everything else. You know, Spider-Man's CGI. The Avengers are CGI. Star Trek has effects that are as good as Star Wars. It's no longer enough to get people in the theater to see a spaceship that looks real. You need characters. You need drama. You need motivation for those characters that create the drama. The new Star Wars doesn't have any of that. It has the Millennium Falcon. It has a blue lightsaber that used to belong to Luke, but they weren't put together properly to keep Star Wars going. So I, for one, am very thankful that I came across this article, because I know that Bob Iger knows that we know that they're fucking up. So everyone, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate the support that you've given this channel, and I appreciate the support of the Star Wars community. Star Wars has been broken, and we're trying to pick up the pieces and fix it. And now Disney's aware of it too. And that's a good thing. Self-awareness is a good thing. So make sure you share this video everywhere. This is very, very important. People need to know that Bob Iger has admitted guilt. People need to know that they're aware of what's going on in the community, the fan base, everything, the retail space. Everyone knows what's happening with Star Wars. Part of me would like to see it just completely fall apart so we could laugh and go, haha, look what you've done. Look, you screwed it up. You ruined it. You messed it up beyond repair. But the part of me that is a Star Wars fan, you know, the part in my heart where I care, I don't take pleasure in watching something I love die. I do take pleasure in knowing that they messed up and that they're trying to fix it, because everybody loves a good comeback story. Everybody loved Robert Downey Jr.'s return from the brink of failure to the highest of highs. With the right people behind the helm, we can return Star Wars to that. So Disney, stop living in the past. Stop trying to get the nostalgia bucks. Stop trying to make the quick bucks. Don't be cheap. Don't cheap out on merchandise. Don't cheap out on effects. Don't cheap out on anything. Get people who know what they're doing. Don't take risks on Rian Johnson. He's not any good. Get people that know what they're doing, people that care what they're doing, and then we, the audience, will care about Star Wars once again. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it everywhere you go. World Class Bullshitters is growing. We're going to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. So I'd like to thank everyone who's already joined the community and welcome everyone that's going to join after this video drops. Make sure you guys check out our Facebook page. We got all kinds of great stuff. We share memes, we share jokes, we just have a lot of fun. If you're a super fan of this channel, join our Patreon page. $1 a month helps, but $5 goes a long way. You get access to exclusive digital content as well as being a part of the community. It's a lot of fun. We just had a patron hangout last night, and I know a lot of people want to get involved with them in the future, so check that out. And if you're a Star Wars fan and you like parodies, check out Stealing Solo, Captain's Parody. Only available on Indiegogo. The link's in the description. It's a response to episode 7. You know, we were heartbroken. We hated it. So a group of guys kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement. It's a crazy, funny tale that everyone that loves Star Wars, that doesn't like Star Wars, it's just a fun story. And it's only available for about a month. So check the date to when you watch this video. And if you have a chance, pick up a copy, because once it's gone, it's gone. So as always, thank you for watching World Class Bullshitters, and I'll be back later with more content.